Hello everyone, today, we are going to talk about the haunting mystery of the disappearance of the Sodder children in 1945. I'll walk you through the intricate details of what happened, the various theories surrounding the case, and the legacy it has left behind. The story begins with a fire, a family in distress, and the inexplicable vanishing of 5 children. So, let's unravel this mystery together. The Sodder family lived in Fayetteville, West Virginia, a small town where everyone knew each other. The family consisted of George and Jenny Sodder and their 10 children. George, an Italian immigrant, and Jenny, a first-generation American, were well known in the community for their hard work and close-knit family values. The Sodder children were Maurice, age 14, Louis, age 9, Sophia, age 8, Cecilia, age 5, Johnny, age 2. On Christmas Eve in 1945, their lives would change forever. On December 24, 1945, a fire broke out at the Sodder family home and consumed the house in a matter of hours. Remarkably, George and Jenny, along with 4 of their children, managed to escape the inferno. However, 5 of the Sodder children were missing. The initial assumption was that the children had perished in the fire. But as the days went by, George and Jenny began to question this conclusion, and their suspicions grew. Despite the fire department's initial conclusion that the children had died in the blaze, George and Jenny Sodder were not convinced. They began their own investigation into the fire, and several peculiarities emerged. The Sodders noticed that the fire seemed to burn unusually fast and intensely, raising questions about whether it might have been intentionally set. There was no trace of the children's remains in the ashes of the house. Despite extensive searches, no bodies or body parts were found, which was highly unusual for such a devastating fire. Several witnesses claimed to have seen people around the Sodder property on the night of the fire, including a mysterious man who had reportedly asked about the family's whereabouts earlier in the day. The Sodders had been involved in several local disputes, including conflicts with some prominent local figures, which might have motivated someone to target them. As George and Jenny pursued their own investigation, several theories emerged, and one theory was that the children were kidnapped. This theory was supported by reports from witnesses who claimed to have seen suspicious individuals around the Sodder home. The idea was that the fire was a cover for the abduction. Some speculated that the fire was set deliberately to cover up a more sinister crime, such as murder. This theory was fueled by the lack of evidence and the Sodders' belief that their children had been taken from them. The FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, was involved in the investigation. Hoover reportedly denied the Sodders' requests for assistance, leading to further speculation that there might have been a more significant, covert reason behind the disappearance. Given George Sodder's outspoken nature and involvement in local politics, some believed that the fire and disappearance were linked to local vendettas. The Sodders had opposed certain local political figures, which could have led to a personal vendetta. The Sodder family's quest for answers received significant media attention. The case was widely covered in newspapers and magazines, and the Sodders' pleas for information reached a national audience. They hired private investigators and offered a substantial reward for information leading to the recovery of their children. The Sodders' public appeals included placing advertisements in newspapers and on radio broadcasts, where they continued to describe their children and provide updates on their search. They even put up a billboard with the children's photographs and a plea for information, which remained in place for years. Despite numerous leads and ongoing efforts, the disappearance of the Sodder children remained unsolved. Over the years, the Sodder family received occasional tips and sightings, but none of these led to any concrete evidence or breakthroughs. The case remained a source of personal agony and public fascination. In 1968, George and Jenny Sodder received a mysterious photo in the mail that purportedly showed one of their missing children. The photo was never definitively proven to be authentic, but it reignited hope and speculation about the children's fate. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe if you like this video. I will see you guys in the next video.